All right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're playing Hunter the Reckoning tonight. We are continuing our Chronicle, Your City Lies in Dust. We are down a long, but we have gained a Steven. I don't know if we've worked out in the positive with that trade.
Definitely negative. Definitely negative.
Yeah. So, but things ended on a very bad note last time around, and we didn't want to leave Rust by himself because Long's going to be hit or miss for the next couple of weeks. So Steven graciously agreed to step in and is actually going to be playing a character everybody has already met, knows really well, and likes, Rena Cooper.
Such good friends.
I thought to myself, who could possibly embody the obnoxiousness of Rena Cooper and force everyone to just hate you right off the bat? Who would be
works
perfect
because everyone
for this?
already hates me. So just
See?
coming into a character they hate, it just rubs off.
It's really not difficult. It's really not difficult for you to really role play this, right? It's just going to be just be yourself.
It's
Steven.
not role playing. I'm just
be
showing
yourself. Just all you need to do is just put a little gum in your mouth, start chewing gums, and blow bubbles every now and then otherwise act like yourself.
I came prepared.
We'll be fine. Oh, did you? Fantastic. Oh, fantastic. All right. So yeah, we're down long, but we've gained Rena Cooper. She's going to take over for the session, and we'll see if anyone survives. As we're in some dire straits. We'll see how this goes. But why don't we do some intros? Eric, thank you for the Prime sub, man. Appreciate it. We're going to let's go ahead and do our intros. So what I didn't have her fully spec'd out. Rena Cooper, I had her personality, has a couple of odds and ends, but so Steven, I gave you a blank character sheet. I said build how you wanted to build. Tell us a little bit about what you ended up doing with Rena.
Yeah, so my inspiration was Gen Z, and I'm thinking like, wow, I don't know much about Gen Z. So I went for a Gen Z influencer. She's going to have some social media. She's going to have some tech skills. She knows some contacts in the Hunter underworld through that social media. Basically, she's what, 20 something, you said? Yeah, 20 something woman who just doesn't care much about everyone else around her. She's just a gig worker, ready to get the job done, get paid, and go home.
That is correct. I probably should have had you read more on Revenge too, because Revenge is the company that she basically works for. So you're like a lowercase hunter. You're a lowercase H hunter, whereas everybody else is a capital H hunter. So you still do the same thing, but you do it for different reasons. So you're not necessarily in it for the good of humanity or whatever. You're in it because you're part of this org.
That goes up along with what I was thinking. That's all.
Yeah,
good.
I think so. Yeah, sounds great. Okay, I saw your character sheet too, and I'm going to spoil something. We finally have someone capable of shooting a gun in the party.
Hey.
Look at all those dots and firearms.
Wow.
There's just so many.
Wow,
There's just a
I'm
ton
looking
of them.
at that.
I'm pretty sure you cheated when you made your character. I don't think you're supposed to have that many. No, that's great. All right, next up, we have the one who is arguably in the most danger currently. We have Elaine Graves. Ashley, tell us something we don't know about Elaine so that when she doesn't make it out of tonight's session, we can feel even worse.
Oh, okay. So you know how you made us fill out like that whole story thing? Like all those questions?
The
I
ones
didn't
that
make you
were
do-
generated from the rulebook.
Yeah, they're from the
Yes.
rule book. You don't have to do every single one. You just do a
Oh,
handful of them.
I had fun with Elaine. Like I have a whole list. So one of her like earlier encounters with with the supernatural was her grandmother started complaining that she'd hear whispering and stuff at night. And Elaine had gone, and at that time she was like switching off Who Cares for her grandma with her mom. So she's like, you know what? I'll watch her for these next couple of nights. And so she snuck a baby monitor in the room, and she found the whispering. She heard it. It wasn't in English, and it didn't sound like it was anything good. And then she witnessed a man crawl out from underneath her grandma's bed. And then when he walked in front of the window, it was more obvious that he was transparent. And then as he crawled up to the bed to kneel on her grandma's chest and just was like pushing on her rib cage while she was sleeping, that was when Elaine killed that fucker, because he didn't notice there was a banishing circle that Elaine had drawn underneath the bed, because he was a vengeful ghost and the house was haunted.
Wow, that's interesting. It's interesting. And it's interesting hearing that story and knowing where you're at currently in this situation. It's even more wonderful. There's just a touch of irony there.
Yep. That's what I was just thinking. That's a lot of backstory that's not going to matter in about 30 minutes.
That's why I got to say it, you know?
You got to get it out.
And I just spent this whole time building a new character, and all of her info's in my head instead. So this is going to be interesting.
I'm proud of you. You got that done really fast too. It's like an hour ago and it's done. It's fantastic. All right. Next up, we have Quixote Rust. Aaron, tell us about Quixote.
Listen, I'm Quixote Rust. You all know me now. You know it's not my name. They gave it to me in the hospital. I still have nightmares about wearing my mother's face after Granny Longlegs made me kill her. But I'm better now. I've had some sleep, and that's what Sister LeBlanc said. She said Granny's not coming back, so that's okay. But if she does come back, we'll be ready for her, because my squad of guerrilla soldiers in the fight against the monsters is ready for anything. Except for Alvin. He had to go home for some risotto. But Rena and I are going to be okay. We're going to be okay. But I'm interested in how she makes money doing this. But I'm in it for the Lord's work.
Every time, like, he takes the glasses off and I'm already gone. Like, it just cracks me up every time. Rust is so intense. It's amazing. Finally, we have Maria Baum. Really, honestly, the only chance Elaine has. So can Melissa, Maria, can you step up and be the hero that Elaine needs? Or do you just flounder and fail and Elaine dies? So it's really kind of up to you. So
Probably
Melissa,
the latter.
Tell us about Maria.
If I were a betting woman, yeah, I would bet on the latter. So Maria is a blue-collar inquisitive. She is a plumber by trade. She has a mentor in all of this hunting stuff who is had been missing. Now she knows she's here, and she was supposed to be going to meet her mentor and kind of got waylaid. I was going back through my biography notes, actually inspired me. Like, what were some of my answers to the questions? And mine was a random incident that happened that a panicked man ran by me one night and whispered, "The rabbits have all the answers."
That's great. Have you anyone here ever listened to the podcast Rabbits before? Anybody? Okay.
No, should
Serial fictional. You might like it, actually. And it was also they turned it into a book as well. I think they turned it into a book.
Looking it up.
Yeah, it's like one of these sort of modern serial fiction podcasts and conspiracy type stuff. It's pretty good. You might like it. I think you might like it, actually.
I have.
But anyway, there's like a rabbits thing in it, so that's why when you mentioned it, I'm like, oh wow, you're from the rabbit. Doesn't mean what you think it does, though. Anyhow, let's dive in. So last time, let's just kind of split up. We have two groups. You guys decided you're going to take on two parts of our chronicle at the same time. So Rena, Alvin, and Rust headed to Sunset Trails, which is a retirement community out west in the Phoenix Valley metro area. You tried to get in through the front like normal people. You went to the leasing office, but they wouldn't let you tour the facility without a recommendation from another resident. Russ tried to make the story that he was trying to get his parents to come live here, but sadly that didn't work. You decided to travel around a bit and like check out some of the other places nearby, and you went to a diner. You met a couple that lived at this facility. They were having breakfast, and they looked kind of strange. They had this kind of vaguely young and vibrant look to them, like this almost uncanny in some manner. Rust actually tried one of his abilities, and it didn't really seem to trigger anything with them. You also, I think it was Alvin who talked to a maintenance worker who's getting coffee. Eventually, I think the three of you started looking through some lost and found. You found a ring of keys, a maintenance ID card for a guy named Chad Grit, who apparently works at Sunset. You also found a wallet for a guy by the name of Steve Robertson, who contained a lockroom control ID card. And you also learned that lockroom control is likely the ones who are employing the security for this particular place. And you kind of looked at some of the guard transitions and things like that. You waited for nightfall, and you decided to climb over one of the walls, like that was kind of obscured and away from either of the entrances. You started looking around. It was dark. Trailers were oddly empty. All the lights suddenly went out just at the same time. And you heard this like horn kind of go off. And then you saw, as you were climbing on top of some of these trailers, this large bus that was kind of driving through this circuitous community. And you saw a bunch of folks, what looked like homeless folks who were getting kind of ushered out or herded out of the bus. There was also this massive group of about 150 plus the 200 people or so that were all kind of surrounding this near the clubhouse, the only 2-story building. And then like something sounded, and all of a sudden the homeless folks just started running all over the place trying to hide. And all of these people, these elderly retirement community people, just got kind of violent and some of them feral and weird and started chasing after them like it was some kind of weird manhunt game. The three of you, we'll say Alvin's there in spirit, but the three of you are atop one of the trailers towards the center circle, because there's that kind of, it's not like a grid format. It almost feels maze-like in some ways. And then on the other side of things, Maria and Elaine, you went over to Whitehall Advanced Care Centers because you were visiting Elaine, your friend, Mr. Ponder, Maria, your uncle Luther, who both were there, who were both patients there. You, after kind of sitting around talking with them for a bit, not necessarily seeing anything too strange, Maria, your uncle started shouting something strange at one point, kind of mumbling, but otherwise everything seemed okay until you saw Katya, who was out in the courtyard, kind of just sitting around doing a crossword puzzle. She left you a coded message to meet her after dark. So you and Elaine came back after dark. And as you were sneaking through the grounds, you made your way to a staircase to go up to where Katya's room was. You encountered a woman in the stairwell who was staring into the corner, kind of weeping, asking for help, and you just felt kind of compelled to help her, pulled toward her. In fact, your mind started to shift and feel very addled. Elaine's just kind of broke entirely, and Elaine entered into this fugue state and began wandering away back down the stairs and outside. Maria, you felt compelled to continue helping this woman. The two of you went upstairs, and up you went. So I don't know where the hell to start, because we can start either place. So let's say, I want to get a basic idea of what the strategy is for the Sunset Trails folks. So those of you in the trailer park, the two of you, and we'll say Alvin's with you as well, you're laying flat on top of this retirement trailer. You're seeing as all of these different folks are screaming and running and trying to hide. You notice this, but everything's so incredibly dark. There are groups, almost like packs or groups of these elder strange folks. Some of them are running almost feral-like. Others are just running normally, and like you can see they're carrying weapons, golf clubs and machetes and things like that as they're chasing after these folks that are all over the place. When you look back towards where the bus is already kind of cleared, the main clubhouse is still the only light, and you can see that there are all these like little security floodlights that are surrounding it, and there's a handful of folks that seem to be also still there, either standing outside or kind of moving in and out of the clubhouse. You don't get immediately noticed as the first round of the groups of these crazed Sunset Trails people run past you, but you are now in a very dangerous situation. So what's the plan?
I think Rena will pop out one of her earbuds. Look at Quixote. What'd you do?
Rena, you gotta understand. these things, they're out for everyone. But this is an opportunity for us. They move past us. We move past the ambush line. Then we can get into the clubhouse. We can find out what's going on. We can cut the head off the snake. And then we can blow this place sky high. And if we go down in the process, well, the heavenly gates will open for the soldiers of righteousness.
You know what an ambush is, right?
I do.
Moving
I'm
past
quite
an
good.
ambush requires the ambush happening.
No, they're going to move past us. We'll only ambush them if they realize we're here. We're going to stealth up, quiet, and then we're going to get in the clubhouse. And then we're going to set our own traps after we find out what's going on. What do you think, Alvin?
You turn back to him, and he looks at you, Quixote, and he just says, "Yeah, whatever you think. You're the smart one of the group."
Alvin's clearly checked out for the day, Rena. It's up to us. He should stay here on the trailer.
Great. You and me. Perfect. And Rena will take off. She's wearing a tiny backpack. She'll flip it around. Sorry about the dogs. And she'll just pull out a massive handgun and put the backpack back on. All right, let's go.
Well, we got to be very quiet. So his plan is, to wait until these waves move past us, and then try to sneak up to the clubhouse, try to find an angle where we're out of sight of the people who are milling around the clubhouse, and see if we can find another access point and get into the clubhouse, figure out what's going on, and then potentially, do some serious damage once we get inside.
Okay. So I'll say, when you look at, remember there was that massive parking lot that was effectively empty, save for when the bus came up, where there was like a staging ground for what's going on. That's been cleared. The bus is kind of driven off at this point. You can see all of these lights that are on, it's this beacon in the middle of the community, and it's the second story. It's a very, very big building, especially compared to all the smaller trailers around you. You do see that it is not unguarded. There are some folks that have lingered around. You can see that some are just kind of hanging out right out front of this main set of double doors. It's a grand entranceway into the clubhouse, it looks like. And you can see that there's a couple there, and there's others that are kind of scattered about in the area. You would probably guess somewhere in the 10 to 12 range of people still moving about that you can tell from the distance that you're at. So if you're looking to try to get closer, I am going to say let's do another stealth, especially since Rena's moving with you specifically, and we'll see how close you can get.
Would that be stealth dex?
Yeah, stealth dex is fine.
Well, that's 5 dice for Quixote.
And 5 for Rena.
An 8 and an 8, and I will spend 1 willpower to reroll 3 dice.
And we'll treat this like contested against a potential, vision of any of those that you might come across.
That is 4 successes for me.
And
Okay,
4 for Quixote as well.
It's a match made in heaven. Look at this. Okay.
So, it's because we're in our 20s and we can still move real quiet because our joints don't hurt.
38-year-old Alvin's back there, father. Just yeah, you guys got this one, you young kids. I'll hang back, cover our escape. All right, so you carefully climb down from the roof, and you start moving and weaving in between some of these trailers. You hear occasionally the loud sound of a horrific cry. You hear this strange chants every now and then start coming out. You can't quite make it out. It's too much at a distance. You hear cackles of glee, and just this absolute smorgasbord of psychotic behavior that seems to be transpiring all around you. You cross the actual parking lot as best you can. There are periodic bits of desert landscaping, so there's cacti that are kicking up. There's palm trees and things like that you can hide behind. So you're doing your best to sneak up, and you kind of get up to the grounds. Once you get a little bit closer to the grounds, you are, I would say, starting to get into that radius of kind of lit territory. Once you kind of bypass the actual parking lot. So what you see is, now that you're a little bit closer, you can notice that it's a fairly sprawling 2-story building. You've got that main covered entranceway that looks like there's a handful of folks out in front. Now that you're a little bit closer, you can see from here that there are 3 in total that seem to be lingering right out front, and they do seem to just be set up literally as guards. You see what looks like this connects to some kind of swimming pool area. You can tell that there's like this gated section. It's gated, but it's also probably not the hardest thing to climb over now that you look at it. You can see signs that will direct you towards what sounds like a maintenance building that you're not sure if it's fully attached, but it's in the same kind of area here. What else would you see?
Is there an entrance from the pool deck, like into the building itself, like into the dressing rooms, into the locker rooms?
So yeah, if you sneak on over in the direction of the swimming pools, you kind of get over. It's got the gated fence, and so it's easy enough to see through. You can see a very large pool. You can see a lot of different lounge chairs and stuff set up. A couple stacked tables here and there. Doesn't look to have been used recently. You do see that there is a tinted glass wall and a series of doors that likely goes into, which you would think is a kind of some sort of locker room area or something like that. It is stained glass. You can't see into it, and it doesn't look like there's light coming out. You do see light above on the second story, and that's kind of vaguely coming down into the swimming pool area, but the swimming pool area is still fairly dark.
Do we notice any security cameras on the corners of the building or anything?
Why don't you two just do a basic awareness test, and we'll kind of use this as an ongoing number. Awareness, I would say, plus wits or intelligence if you prefer. Either one's fine.
Wits will work for me.
Yeah, that is 6 dice for me.
3 successes.
Okay.
Also 3 successes.
Wow.
Lockstep.
This is just... it's a match made in heaven, I said. Okay. Yes, you do, in fact, notice that there are security cameras. One of them is right over top of the gate, like on the inside. To go inside, so it's likely going to track anyone who went into the pool. And it does appear that there is another camera right over top of that main entrance, in the main like tinted glass door entrance from the patio. You do see them, and they do, I would say, you can tell that they're on too. They definitely have a small light on the underside of them to suggest that they are currently on.
Rena, we're going to need to temporarily block the lens of that camera while we go over and then pull it away. Should only be a few seconds where they've got a blind spot, but you got something in your backpack, like a piece of cardboard or something we can put over it? You're awful handy to have around.
Yeah, I don't have any cardboard, but I do have this, and I'll pull from my backpack. I'll pull out a can of black spray paint.
Okay. So and we're not going to reroll stealth at this point. So you just, with the 4 stealth, you do your best to kind of hop over. I would say, again, it's not hard to climb, but you hop over and try to angle yourself in such a way that you're not visible, and you just spray the first camera, weave through some of the stacks of chairs and lounges, and you kind of get over towards the glass doors, and you start spraying the second camera. When you go to open, when you check the door is in fact locked. There is a card key, like you can see there's right next to it, just like there was for the gate itself. Like you can tell that there's a place where you can just put a resident key right up against it that likely would unlock this.
Will our security guard's card that we got out of Lost and Found work?
You try that. That doesn't work because that's a locker room. But when you try the maintenance card that you have, that does actually work. and you see that the little red light goes to green, and you pull the door open, and you see what amounts to a very, very swanky looking clubhouse. So you smell, it sounds like, you know, potpourri and everything around. You see lockers and these barca loungers and things that are kind of all spread out. It's dark in here, but you notice that there are these just what looks like just mood lighting that kind of keeps just a little bit of light kind of along by what looks like a run of mirrors and things like that. And now that you're inside, let's kick over to Elaine and Maria, and we'll see what happens there. So,
all good things, right?
okay. So Maria, start with you. You are moving further up the stairs in the stairwell. You feel this utter compulsion to help this woman.
Mm-hmm.
And all she's really ever said is like, help me. It's effectively all she's ever said. And this overwhelming desire to help her seems to sort of overcome you. She's dressed in kind of the same kind of, which you can, you know, what looks not like scrubs, but definitely like a patient gown. So you get up to the next level, which you know would be Maria's level, and reach out like you don't your arm just reaches out and does it. Just pulls down the handle. The heavy door pushes open, echoes down the stairwell. It's a dark hallway, carpeted, but you can see every like 15 feet or so there's an electric sconce that is casting light, and so it's not there's just sections where there's shadows, but otherwise it's kind of open, and it's laid out much like any other floor, but it's definitely a resonant floor.
And so this is floor 5.
Yeah, so you would be on Katya's floor.
Okay.
But as you kind of maybe start moving in a direction to try to go to Katya, the woman just says again, like, help me. And you feel like this small bony hand just tighten around your forearm. It doesn't hurt, but you can feel like heavy pressure. And she seems to be kind of tugging you in a different direction. And your body just goes with her. So what would you like to do?
I mean, I feel compelled in this direction, so I am not, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to be RPing in a different direction. Can I say that I can do some type of like a whistle or something? So like some type of a song that Katya might recognize. So like I'm following my compulsion, but I'm making like an auditory sound.
You can make a roll to try to do something against helping her, but there is a roll for that if you wanted to try it. But whistling wouldn't necessarily, like, you don't necessarily have to do anything special. You could just start to whistle. That's fine. But if you wanted to try to like break free from her, at this point you can try again. It would be another stamina resolve, and it would be fairly high difficulty.
And bad things happen when I fail that, right?
Yes.
Remember correctly.
Well, it depends on the margin.
Yeah.
A lot of willpower damage.
Well, and because I'm filled up on willpower, all of my rolls are at a -2.
Yeah, so... you're impaired technically.
Yeah. So I think I'll just whistle, and I'm just going to follow the compulsion.
Okay. So you whistle as best you can, and then you just kind of follow with the woman at this point. She starts taking you down the hallway. Help me. She comes up to what looks like this hallway set of like balcony doors. Kind of open them up, and you're on what looks like a kind of a shared patio space that overlooks that courtyard, that grassy courtyard area where you had, lunch sort of with Uncle Luther earlier in the day. You can kind of look down on it. You see various lights here and there. The mountain that this backs up to is dark and you can't see anything up it. There are what looks like security lights that have come on around the exterior wall. And as you're walking, as you're looking down, and you have, your brain's just, your observation's working fine. It's just, again, it's just like this compulsion has taken over you.
Mhm.
You see Elaine climbing over the gate, over that wall. And she's just climbing up, kind of awkwardly at first. She's like, her movements are belabored in some way. She's struggling. But you see her climb up kind of embarrassingly slow and then just flop down on the other side onto the mountainside of things.
Where?
After a few moments, she gets up and just starts climbing up now the mountain. And at a certain point, she just leaves the lighted radius of the security light.
Can I yell after her?
Sure.
So just, still kind of having this kind of woman on her arm. She's just going to yell like, Elaine.
Unfortunately, Elaine is in a fugue state as she is filled up on aggravated willpower. So you call out. And again, that's not necessarily doing anything. But the woman next to you is just she's still kind of holding your arm. And she's like kind of looking down. You're on the 5th floor. And she just looks up at you. And she says, "Help me."
What do you want me to do?
You hear the sounds of like footsteps behind you. And you look back and you see the doors have kind of shut. But you hear the sounds of like movement in the hallway. And all she does is kind of look up at you. I'll tell you what, roll a awareness. Actually, no, roll an insight test. An insight. I'll do intelligence or wits. You can pick whichever one you want.
I'll take intelligence so that I'm at least rolling 4 dice for this.
Sure.
That is 1 success.
Okay. Okay. So for each success you get, I'll just give you one piece of information.
Okay.
When you look at her, you can tell that there is now a tiny little bit of blood beginning to drip down her eye. And she's looking up at you, and it's starting to perhaps dawn on you that this woman who's been clinging to you is perhaps under a spell not unlike the one you're under, but maybe to a worse degree. You might get the feeling that she's not fully in control of what she's doing either.
And she's just gonna and I can't remember if I did this last time. She'll just kind of look at her and just say, "Are you Annabelle?"
Okay. As you say that name, you feel the hand on your forearm just suddenly tug your arm to the point where it almost feels like supernatural strength, and it just rips it down. Roll a brawl strength into this contested.
Oh no, I have nothing to roll. What does that mean?
Well, it means it's gonna hurt.
I have
Right.
2 strength and nothing in brawl.
Take 2 points of superficial health damage as you
Okay.
just feel your shoulder just suddenly pop a bit, and the strength that's coursing through this woman who's got to be in her in her 70s. There's no way she has this strength that she just essentially yanks you down to her face.
Oh, what?
And you just watch as like the countenance of this woman just grows dark, shadows begin to kind of move around it. And you're getting like this poor woman is not in control either, and you can tell like tears of like blood are beginning to fall. Her eyes, the sclera, are starting to kind of fill up, no longer just white. You hear the sounds of like pounding on the door behind you, on the balcony door, and you hear the sounds of Katya, like Maria, and like she's like pulling and pulling and pulling on the doors to the balcony, which are closed. What do you want to do?
I can't. Yeah, and she'll like turn around just so that Katya can see that it is in fact me.
Smash
Is
and
she-
smash. Go ahead.
Is she like pulling me towards like off the balcony? Like, am I concerned about how close I am to the edge of the balcony, or we're just like out?
You
here
are
on the
right. Yeah,
balcony?
you are right at the edge. Like it would take effort to go over top of it, but like you are right at the edge of it. Yeah.
Ah,
Go ahead if you would like. You can roll a stamina resolve if you want to try to pull free from her, or if there's something you want to do to try to kind of break from this little stalemate that you're in.
I'm trying to look through everything that I have, and I don't think there's anything that I'm particularly good at, because this feels like this isn't a talky BS your way through it kind of a problem.
If you want to use your bullshitter thing, when you mentioned the woman's name, you could tell that there was a reaction. So it's not as though whatever is inhabiting this woman isn't able to communicate with you. So I would say if you wanted to take a specialty die for that, I would give you that.
Okay. So I could try to do like a persuasion. What attribute could I throw with that?
It would be probably manipulation. Oh, attribute.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, manipulation probably.
Yeah, manipulation. Okay. So I'm at least rolling 4 there. All right, let me do the roll and see how that goes. Elaine, I'm trying. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. 2 10s. So that's 4 successes.
That's a crit. Okay.
Yeah, crit.
Do you have any
Yay.
other dice?
2 2s.
Okay. Do you want to spend a willpower to?
I can't.
Oh, that's right. You can't. Okay.
I mean, can I?
I think you can. I think you have to do. It would be a superficial slash. I don't think. Can you take? I don't think you can voluntarily double slash aggravated willpower. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Um.
We'll
It's
assume
okay.
that that's a no, and I'll take the 4.
Okay, we'll go with a 4 for now.
Okay.
So, as you kind of go through, like what is it? What is it you're saying? How are you trying to bullshit this old woman inhabited by some creature?
That's a good question. If you, I think the direction that I would go, and I'm kind of struggling with the word, but basically the direction I would go is like, if you're trying to communicate something to me, there's got to be a more direct way to do it. Like this isn't working. Like, release her.
Okay.
We can find a different way to have this conversation.
So you say
that's the
release
direction
her,
I'm going.
and her hand goes free, and you're now let go. You still hear the shaking of the balcony door, and you hear Katya's voice on the other side.
Can I go towards the door and open it?
You take a few steps towards the door. You go to open it, and you turn around. Like as you open it, she comes through. Like you see Katya. She sees you. She's got this worried look on her face. She's dressed in kind of generic clothes. Looks like she's some sort of basic like pajama get up. And and as you look at her, you turn back just in time to see the woman backflip off the side of the balcony, and you hear the sound of something crushing the bottom.
Damn it. Maria will sort of see that it's Katya and just run back over to the balcony and just sort of like she's just holding her head, and she just like looks over.
Yeah, you look down, and the woman that was kind of going along with you, you see her. She's broken in what looks like one of the landscaping sections.
Damn it. And she'll turn back to Katya. What the hell is going on?
She says, "This place there's a spirit, malevolent. It's here. It hops from person to person. It's taken out a few of us. I think it got Isaiah, and whatever that poor woman just went over the side. She probably was. This isn't the first time this happened.
Wait, Elaine just went over the fence there. I've got to go.
Her eyes get wide. We gotta go. And so
yes, we got to go.
she starts running. Okay.
Maria will run after her.
Meanwhile, Elaine, you are in a fugue state. as you are just wandering up this dark mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Like the camera is just sort of peering around you, or kind of you're getting further and further. Like the lights of this medical care facility are getting further and further behind, dwindling in the distance. You're not, like, you can feel your feet kind of hitting the ground here and there. No real conception of what's actually happening. And as you're about, as you're several, I would say 100 feet kind of up this rocky incline, you don't realize this, but the rest of us, as we're watching in third person, sort of, we hear the sounds of like rocks and stuff suddenly slipping. We hear a sudden sound of and lights begin to pop up, these tiny little glowing lights, as the eyes of what looks like animals begin to start popping up. And there are coyote kind of standing on top of a rock, kind of looking down at Elaine as she walks past. Another one is like sneaking out from the shadows from behind and starting to follow. We see Elaine kind of disappear a little bit further up around what looks like this huge kind of reddish rock. And we see like these two other coyotes begin their big old paws kind of flopping up behind as they're just kind of following Elaine as she goes further and further up.
Oh no.
Sorry, I'm going to eat you with coyotes. So let's go back to our Sunset Trails group. You are in the clubhouse. It smells like potpourri in here. The distant sounds of people screaming in pain, cackling with psychotic glee, begin to fade as the door closes from the outside. You can see the outside, but you know from being out there on the patio that like it can't really be seen inside. You can't really see inside, but you can tell that you're in kind of a shared central area, a lounge area. There's basic mirrors here and there, but there also are these like kind of separate flanking women's and men's. Kind of goes off, would you imagine, to showers or something, toilets and things like that. There also appears to be like this row of sinks in the middle with those mirrors that have the lights above it. Either side, it looks like there are this kind of symmetrical walkway that you would imagine goes around to the main entrance that disappears into the rest of the clubhouse. What would you two like to do?
Rena, do you have a knife in that backpack? Alvin was supposed to give me a knife, but I don't have a knife. I think we should be quiet.
What? I just forgot to bring one this time. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We'll just have to... Just remember, everybody here is okay with anything that's happening out there, so they're all enemies of humanity and have to be treated like that.
Okay, I'll remember.
Rust quietly starts to creep his way out. He's trying to get angles on the hallways as they approaches the doors out of this area to see if we can see any movement, see any interior guards.
So there's this kind of ornate set of double doors that leads out of this clubhouse bathroom area. You push it open ever so carefully, and you try to get an angle inside. And what you see is a very, very well lit. Entranceway is overstating it, but you can see what looks like the entry path, like off to your right in the distance. You can tell that goes out towards the front. You also see across the way there is a little sign that has like an on-site clinic, so you know that like you've heard about there being on-site medical care here. That looks to kind of go out in that direction. It looks like there is this set of, again, ornate stairs. Everything is like wooden lacquer, like all the walls are wood and lacquered. You can see that there's these kind of old oil paintings that are hanging up here and there with their own individual lights. You notice that there are a couple columns, these that sort of flank this hall like the entrance, and you can also see that there's a staircase that goes up to the second floor, but there's also a ballroom that's being pointed to kind of far off to your left. You do see, as you are kind of peeking in here, there are two individuals that are in the process right now of unfolding what looks like a lot of plastic tarps in the middle of this hall.
Are they armed? What do they look like?
Yeah, do they
Okay.
look like maintenance guys or?
When you look at them, they are wearing, this is not going to sound threatening, they are wearing khakis that are carefully tucked in. You see the collared shirt of Sunset. You can see that they have on their, on their belts, like some sort of little pack. But I'll say, Quixote, if you're the one looking out, go ahead and roll. Roll a. If you have do you have a cult?
I do.
Roll
Yeah,
a
I've got 3.
cult. Roll a cult, maybe intelligence.
Okay. I do have a quick question. Are we? Do we have any desperation?
Yes, you're
point?
at the despair is at 3 right now.
Okay.
So, yeah, keep the thing up in the upper left there.
Oh, shit. Sorry, I didn't see that. But I'm not directly dealing. Well, physical, social, or mental with the supernatural. No, they're not really supernatural at the moment, or at least I don't know. So, okay. I'm going to spend a point of willpower to reroll 3 of those. That's better. 2 10s and an 8, so 5 successes.
Okay, 5 successes. So you do
Critical
notice
too,
that
2 10s.
So you notice that not only like they are wearing these like really generic kind of in basic look to it, but as you start to look a little bit more closely, you notice that there are these tattoos that are kind of hidden underneath some of the sleeves, and you see them kind of swirling down the side, and much like your own, which have like this kind of a cultish meaning to them, you can tell that these as well kind of have that same kind of feel. They don't just look like random images from pop culture. Like you can tell that they have something more to that. And as they move their heads around, you notice that their eyes are actually discolored in some way. You can tell that there's a kind of a silvery nature to them in a way that almost makes them look pale and desaturated. And their skin as well is somewhat paler. You're not sure if you would go full on calling them vampiric, but they definitely would give you, especially since your familiarity with Sister LeBlanc, ghoulish vibes to them. Like individuals that have taken on maybe some small portion of their vampiric master's like power, but not full on vampiric.
Raina, I think those are the bloodsuckers, familiars, ghouls. We're definitely on the right path, but we gotta take them out. Now, are they visible? Is the entryway where they're putting down the plastic tarps, would that be visible to the outside double doors, to the guards that are out there?
The main entrance are these very, very tall, very ornate double doors with, on either side, there is like a frosted kind of glass. So the people who are outside, the only thing that they could probably really see is just vague shapes, not necessarily precise movements. But they might be able to hear stuff. That would probably be a little bit easier.
What do you think, Raina? We got to get deeper in here, but I think we need to take those 2 out before we do, but we got to do it quiet.
I take my earbud out. What'd you say?
I don't like you. I want you to know that. I just don't like you at all, but we have...
No one said you had to.
Yes, that's true. We have to kill those 2 ghouls quietly.
Kill?
Of course, they're enemies of humanity.
Okay, I don't know if you... I'm whispering here. I don't know if you know how this gig works. I don't get a bonus for killing, and it just adds complications. So let's not do the killing.
I hear what you're saying. Wait here. And Russ starts to sneak out to approach one of them from behind.
Okay. We're just gonna roll over your 4. So I'm just going to roll my d10, see if I get a crit with either of them. Okay. So 2 of them, you can see, are they're spreading these things out. They seem to be disappearing into like a little closet, pulling some more out. So you try to time it to where one of them has their back to you. You sneak on out. There's marble on the floor, but you can tell that they're still trying to protect it. And your feet are quiet, nothing's echoing, and you're able to close the distance on one.
Rust winces a little bit, pulls out the 32, puts it at the back of this thing's neck, and pulls the trigger.
Okay.
He expects to die tonight,
no.
but
Okay.
he wanted a knife, but nobody had a knife to give.
Rena wouldn't give him a
Rena
knife.
said no. Clearly, this is Rena's fault.
I didn't know you had a 32.
Go ahead and roll firearms composure, and then go ahead and I would say take like a. I mean, I'll just lower the difficulty for this. This is routine. They're stationary. You're snuck right up on them, so we'll just call this. All you need is one success. To
Since my specialty is ambush attack, so can I get an extra die for that?
Absolutely.
Too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Would we give Rust a gun?
Hey, everybody makes
Good
mistakes. It was Alvin who gave it to me. He knew.
Mm-hmm.
Chain of custody. I'm like, I don't recall handing a gun.
Alvin
from
gave
my,
him a gun and left.
He did.
I'm going to spend one more willpower to. All right. Okay. So that's 9, 6, 8, 10, 6, 7, 5 successes. 6 successes.
Okay. 6 successes. All right. So this is what happens. You sneak up. He's unfolding, smoothing them out very gently. Goes to stand up. The gun's right at the back of his head, and you fire, and it echoes in the room. Marble floors, wooden walls, etc. Echoes throughout the clubhouse. No way the folks outside didn't hear this, and anybody else in the clubhouse. Rena, you can hear it as well. But its head, the head just doesn't fully explode, but you can see that there's an exit wound in the face. You can already see on the ground in front of you on the plastic this huge spray of blood on the ground, bits of brain matter, and they flop down, just completely and utterly immobile.
So now Rust is hoping that this is going to draw everyone else's attention away from Rena.
So that's exactly what it does. As you just a handful of feet away, over by the actual the closet where like they're getting all the different tarps. You're what the fuck was that? What the fuck did you do? As this other guy, he's carrying like this big old pack of plastic, throws it to the ground. You're gonna die for that. And you hear the front doors also are kind of smashing open as well. Okay. Rena, what do you do in this moment as you saw all this kind of happen?
I can tell that they're ghoulish too now that I'm getting a good look at them. They're coming out, right?
For sure. Yeah.
I want to sneak around using the distraction that Rust gave me.
Okay. And
get up behind, get a good firing position that I could take a couple out to. I'm not necessarily going to leave Rust behind. We're going loud.
Okay. So are you going to try to sneak up to the one that just is now staring Rust down from the opposite side of this hall? Or are you going to try to get into a position where you can like fire on anyone who comes in through the door? Oh my gosh. What a perfect time for him to freeze. His face.
Am I freezing?
Stuck.
I'm sorry.
Just your face. We can hear you.
Okay. So far, we just think it's the two of them, now one of them, right? And we know there's light upstairs.
You know that there's these two, and there were a handful of folks out front, and that's all you really know about what's in the clubhouse currently.
Yeah, I want to get the one that's staring down Rust first before we worry about anything else coming in.
Okay.
If that answers your question.
With this guy's focus on Rust, you're going to go ahead and take a shot at him. It's not going to be fully ambush at this point anymore. I think that cat's out of the bag, but I will drop the difficulty down 1. So normally this would be... Hang on, let me pull up my stat block for these guys. Okay. Difficulty... We'll make it a difficulty of 2.
And it's Dex firearms, right?
It's composure firearms.
Composure. Oh, good thing I put points in that too.
Yeah, Rena and Maria actually roll the same number of dice in composure firearms.
You said difficulty 2, right?
Difficulty 2.
All right. I got 3, so I will not reroll anything.
Okay. So you fire 1 success. What's the damage on the gun?
I don't actually know. I didn't actually put it in my sheet. I'm sorry.
I think I have a handout with weapons, maybe. Did I put weapons handouts yet?
I'm sorry. I should have had that.
No,
What are we looking for?
Just a... what's it called? The damage for guns, for handguns. 1 sec. Because you get it on top of the... So this is a... You said it was a heavy gun, right?
I said it was a big handgun. So whatever that would count as. I'd say medium gunshot, probably.
A 9mm pistol is +3. A 357 would be +4. So
Okay, so what would you say? Like the medium is +3, the heavy is +4.
I think it would still be medium. You know, like I'm a 20-year-old girl. Like I'm not going to be carrying around a 357 Magnum.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Okay.
kickback.
All right, so you hold out the gun, you take a shot, and you fire. You got 1 success plus 3 points, so that's 4 damage. Center mass, perfect shot. He looks down at it, blood starts oozing out, and he looks back up. Now you're both gonna die. And he seems almost unflinching. And he's gonna start with Rust though. So he's gonna lunge at Rust. Rust. And you hear everyone out front is already starting to bust down the door. So they'll be in on the next round. Once this is up, we'll reset. So this guy lunges at Rust. Let's see. Rust, roll. He doesn't have anything in his hands. He just has, so it's just going to be brawl. It's contested, so Rust, roll brawl difficulty 4.
Okay, that hurts. Makes me sad.
Sorry.
6. 9, 7, 6. 4 successes.
Okay, so you come up, like he comes right towards you, and he's looking like he's getting ready to just try to tackle. He's a big, muscular guy, and looks like he's going to smash you down. But you manage somehow, despite, you're not necessarily the biggest guy in the world, but maybe you're just kind of blocking here and there. Maybe you learn a thing or two from Alvin and everything to just try to use the body weight of the guy coming towards you to throw him off, and he can't quite make that like physical like imprint on you. It's at this point the doors fly open, and you can see that coming through there are 3 more of these 3 more people coming in, one of whom looks just like these do, that kind of strange face, eyes, and the other 2, they just look like these uncanny, semi-ageless elderly folks that are coming in, and they're flanking on either side. But as the door flies open, they take stock of what's happening. They see the body on the ground. They see the other guy wrestling with Rust, blood coming down. You hear this loud shout from the ghoulish figure, and the elder folks, you see them pick out what looks like just random weapons. Like one of them has what looks like a big old butcher knife. Another one pulls out what looks like, a 9-iron, and they're getting ready to charge in. Bert, thank you for the raid. I think I'm about to kill like 3 different characters here.
It's gonna get ugly.
This is bad.
So think carefully about what you guys want to do. I want to jump back. Because we also have another serious issue. Maria, Katya, you're together. This woman, this elderly woman, just fell over top of the balcony. Considering her age, considering the height, you're fairly confident that probably killed her, but you don't know for sure. You also just saw Elaine hop over top of the fence and is now climbing up the mountain. You're not aware of the coyote stuff, but you know she's climbing up the mountain, and we know that Elaine is being stalked by a pack of coyotes. So, Maria, what do you want to do?
Maria is going to book it back to the stairwell.
Okay.
With Katya and just try to run down.
Okay. So the two of you run down. I'll tell you what. Go ahead. If you're trying to go as fast as you can and you don't care whatsoever who sees you, roll athletics stamina, and you're just going to run as fast as you can to try to go help Elaine.
And I haven't, unfortunately, done this as often as I should, and I should have looked this up when it wasn't my turn. Can I do... No, so this has nothing to do with my creed field, so I can't use it.
Yeah, Despair's creed field.
Yeah, okay,
Mhm.
got it. All right. Then I am rolling 1 dice.
Also, as we said before, you can go ahead, because we talked about this, you and I talked about this beforehand, like your start of the scenario, or start of the session, like willpower heal, like that's been resolved now. So you're welcome now at this point, as you've broken the tether that you had with that elderly possessed woman.
Oh,
you can go ahead and take it. Yeah. So you and Katya are running full speed, not waiting for anyone. You hear the sounds of random people say, hey, what do you think you're doing? Hey, wait a second. As you're running. So give me the roll, and this is going to determine basically how quickly you can get to Elaine.
Okay, I will spend 1 willpower, so I'm at least rolling 2 dice for this.
Sure.
And that's 2 successes, 7 and a 9.
Okay. You run, you hear multiple shouts. You're like, hold it right there. Stop moving. What are you doing?
Somebody fell.
And they're like, what? Do you stop and try to help them? Like, or are you just bolting?
I'm just going to say, like, as if that's the explanation for why I'm running downstairs. Somebody fell.
And so, like, you can hear that there are feet following you. Like, you hear someone's chasing after you. And you get outside, you bust out, you go out the way that you and Elaine actually came. The door is, like, flopping open here and there. You see the grisly scene of this woman who fell down to the desert landscaping. A quick glance, you don't have any more time than a quick glance. You can see it does not look good. Mm-hmm. And as you get right up to the fence, Katya's right there with you. You hear the voice of whoever's chasing you scream out, "Oh my God, somebody call the cops! Oh my God, get your asses back here!" And now, as they see you run past this site, it might dawn on you at this point that they're wondering, why are you running from the scene of this woman who fell? Okay. Climb up over top. Mm-hmm. It's not hard. It takes a moment. And you're into, like, you and Katya are into this sort of dark area. Elaine, you're in a fugue state, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't necessarily defend yourself, but I'm going to say it doesn't mean that you can entirely kind of control. Like your body is not necessarily responding. Like there's something that's kind of happening to you right now that's just causing you to kind of drift up. But what I'll say is you're gonna roll defense as these coyotes that are up on this mountain with you are gonna descend upon you. So let me get their stat block up. I have so many different stat blocks.
So many things are going to just murder all of us.
Yep.
Okay. Let me roll to see. All right. So go ahead and roll. We'll call it brawl strength. You're going to need to roll. This is going to be a difficulty of 4. Sorry.
Okay, and I lose 2 dice, right?
Yeah, and I'm just calling like the PAX attack. I'm not going to do individual attacks for one.
Okay, I get to roll 1 dice.
Okay.
And I got a 10.
Okay, 10 is great. It's not a crit, unfortunately, since it's only 1. But it's still a success. It will reduce some of the damage that you take here, but you are still going to take from this small pack, this pack of like 4 coyotes. We all watch from the camera as the 2 that are kind of loping along behind. There's one that was kind of perched up above on the rock, and then there's this other one that was kind of flanking around in the darkness. One of them, just the big one that's kind of on top of the rock, just leaps down and just knocks Elaine to the ground and just begins and then the one from the shadows kind of comes up, starts doing the same. The 2 more eventually come up, and Elaine, you're on the ground, you're holding your arms up and just bite, and like your mind's so distanced that you're not even like, this is like in somewhere in your head this is terrible and awful, but you're in some strange way you're not feeling the pain, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be, you said you got one success, right?
Yeah.
And I said difficulty 4, so that's 3, and they get +1 to damage, so that's 4 points of damage.
Okay. So I have 1 empty block left.
Okay. So, Maria, Katya, you're on the mountain now. You know that Elaine went up here. It's dark. You don't see her in the immediate illuminated area. What do you want to do to try to find her?
So Maria is dually concerned. 1, to try to find Elaine. 2, that the people at Whitehall think that she killed this poor old woman. And so she is going to be running fairly quickly in the direction that she thinks Elaine went, trying to get some distance behind her and trying to get up the mountain at the same time.
Okay. So, I guess what I'm thinking about is how do you have any sort of tracking skills or anything you can do to try to kind of find the way that she went or something like that?
I have survival.
I'll take it.
Survival paired with,
I'd say probably wits because you're moving fast.
okay. And because I'm done with the scene, I am no longer at a -2. Yay.
Okay.
I can roll all 3 of the dice and get 6 and up, right? I got a 6 and a 7 and a 1.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 successes.
6 and a 7, 2 successes. Okay. So at a certain point, as you're looking around, it's rocky, but there's also plenty of just dust and dirt up here. You eventually find what looks like these like they're very fresh, recent footprints, but they're also kind of dragging in that kind of lumbering way that you saw Elaine, and you just bolt and you run, and Katya's there with you. You can see Katya even kind of brings out what looks like a small little flashlight, and she's holding it out now. So as you get away from the radius of the security lights, you're tracking. At a certain point, you hear the sounds of animals, and you can see as you're shining the light up kind of towards the rocks up ahead, you can see shadows are kind of being thrown on all sorts of different ways, and you kind of almost get a silhouette of some of these animals. They're going to get another attack off though before you can intervene. I'm sorry. I'm not really, but Elaine, same thing actually, same difficulty, everything.
Ooh, 2. That's a fail.
Okay. 2's a fail. You're going to take a total of 2 damage. One of the things I wanted to check really fast, actually, is whether this is aggravated.
Yeah, is that superficial or?
They're bites, so it's too superficial for now because we fix it later. But I can't recall seeing.
Because if I take 2, if I just click 2, I'll have at least 1 aggravated box.
Yeah, go ahead and take 2. It's fine. So yeah, take the. So it's you got 2 successes. It was a 4 difficulty. They have +1 to damage, so you actually take 3 points of damage. It's you get the difference +1.
Okay, so I have 2 aggravated boxes now. If that means anything to you.
So Maria, Katya, the 2 of you come up and you see that there is Elaine right there. You recognize her clothes immediately. You see her in the dirt. You can see, she's kind of covering up here and there as best she can. She's not even shouting out. It's just this numb, quiet, like huddling she has. And these 4 coyotes are just ripping through her, in a way that seems more vicious than you would have thought. So Maria, what do you want to do? And if you want, you can kind of direct Katya to do something as well.
Oh, so I am struggling because I am pretty sure that the weapon that I have on me is also a firearm. Oh, crap. I don't really want to shoot a gun and bring their attention up the mountain, but I need to save Elaine's life, so I'm going to pull out a gun and shoot the coyote.
There's 4 of them, so yeah, go ahead and shoot one of them.
All right, so Composure Firearms is me rolling 7 dice. 4 in Composure and 3 in Firearms. And that is not a good roll. That's 3 successes.
Okay, so
I will spend some willpower because this is a differential thing, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was looking at. I was just sorry. I'm still trying to find the answer to that
I'm gonna
question I
spend
was mentioning before.
2. Oh, this is probably risky, but I'm trying to save Elaine. I'm gonna spend 2 willpower to reroll 2. Wait, is it 1 for 1?
So the difficulty,
Reroll.
by the way, if you're just firing at one of them, the difficulty for this for hitting them, because remember I use the quick blocks, so I only roll to see if I crit basically. So I'll roll that then. Okay, so it's the difficulty's 3.
And I hit 3.
Okay, so you hit 3, so you would be doing your weapon damage to it. So it's just a question of whether you wanted to try to do more damage. I think you would.
So I will spend 1 willpower to reroll.
Okay.
Hold on. I needed to check all of the dice. I rolled more dice than I thought. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. I had a couple of dice hidden in the corner. So I actually had a crit. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I was like, wait,
did.
I rolled 7 dice. Where'd the other dice go?
Sure you did. Okay.
She just had 6 10s. That's all it was.
I'm like, oh, look, I found all these 10s in the corner. That's amazing. Look at that. So what's the total successes?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay. You had 7 successes.
Yeah,
so
'cause
the
I-
difficulty of 3. So
Okay.
you did 4 plus your weapon damage. I think you're using one of the basic light weapons, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, which I think is just a +1 for those, because those were just like the base ones, right? That you got out of the.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 4 points of damage, and okay, you shoot one, and you hear as one of them spins in the direction of where it just got shot. It's not enough to actually kill it. You get it right in its flank. Very clear shot. It spins around, staring at you now. The 3 others, of the 3, they're still kind of chomping away on Elaine. What do you want Katya to do?
See if she can pull Elaine out. Like, see if she can get Elaine away.
Okay, so you want to send Katya into the melee while you sit back shooting.
She
Classic.
I'm assuming
Melissa.
she doesn't have a weapon on her. Like, if I thought she had a gun
yeah,
on
she's
her,
got
I
like
would
a
tell her to shoot, but-
flashlight, and we'll say
Yeah.
maybe like a knife or something she can have. So she'll go charging in, and pulling
Maybe
Elaine
like
out.
give a boost to Elaine or somehow.
I mean, let's keep it easy, Melissa. Let's just have her
Sure,
go stab a wolf,
Good
or
deal.
a coyote. Okay, so she's gonna go charging in onto one of the others, and she's gonna attempt to stab. So I got a block for her, so I'm just gonna do. All right, so she'll go in, she'll stab with a knife. It will be successful. We'll say it probably a different one than the one that you shot. So that 2 of them are now taken off of Elaine. She'll stab one.
Okay.
It'll immediately turn around and try to snap at her, but she'll dodge out of the way of that. Now, there's still 2 more that are on Elaine, so I'm going to have them rolled as they continue. So, Ashley, continue to roll another defense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3 is the difficulty this time.
I can only run. I got 1 success.
Okay. 3 more points of damage.
Oh no.
All right,
So-
I got 1 more box until I've filled up all aggravated damage.
All right, Maria, it's back to you. You've just shot one of them. It's now turned around and kind of looked at you. You're unsure yet. It's kind of staring you down. It's trying to take a measure. This thing might bolt. It might bolt at you. It might just bolt away completely. You shot it in its leg. It's certainly off Elaine. You would guess that if it's just like any other animal, it'd probably run at the sound of the shots. The other 2 that are actually still eating Elaine.
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna
then
shoot
there's
one
the
of the
one
other
that's
2.
okay.
It's still on her. Yeah.
Okay. So let me roll my crit die. No crit again.
Okay. This is
So,
where I am
3
definitely going
difficulty.
to spend that willpower because I want to get more. I have exactly 3.
Okay.
And I want to get more than that. So
That'll do that'll be like a graze.
Yeah, let me spend the willpower to reroll 3. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
6
No
successes. Okay, so that's 4 points of damage to it. Same thing. You shoot another one. Doesn't kill it. You're not kind of getting them in a place where it looks immediately fatal. But one of them gets shot, gets thrown off, and like kind of stumbles off to the side now. And then there's just the one that's still eating Elaine. Okay. So right now we've got Katya, who is literally in a fang versus knife fight with one of them.
With
You've
one of
shot
them.
2.
Yeah.
One of them is still on Elaine. Elaine's nearing death. What are you thinking for Katya? I don't want to be the one that said. So, what do you think? She's your mentor. It's going to be if she tries to kind of go after the other one, she's essentially trying to melee with 2 different ones at the same time, which is going to be more difficult for her. Or do you want to just hope that Elaine can take another bite? How do you want to handle it?
I have no faith that Elaine is going to survive another bite.
Okay. Oh, no
She looks
okay,
real
that
bad.
part. Mhm.
Like coming up on her, like she just looks bloody and looks like things are not going well. So I think she would have Katya try to stab at that one.
Okay. So if that's the case, then Katya is probably going to get bit. So she's going to roll. So she's going to like lunge after the last one that's on Elaine. No extra success for her. So she will succeed again, but it's just barely. She's essentially just doing 1 point of damage to these things. So the 2 that have been stabbed are in relatively good condition. They've just kind of been cut and distracted, while the ones that have gotten shot look to have actually been wounded. You do see the first one that you shot is kind of limping off at this point. It's trying to break away. The first one that is. Okay. What I'll do then is...
Kill the coyote. We're gonna kill the coyote.
I'm
All
sorry,
the
I
coyotes
don't
are
like
gonna be
killing
wounded. Kill.
dogs. I know you do. She strangled our dog to death. That's canon for that's how we cope with how she died. Melissa killed her with her bare hands. So it's a terrible, horrible joke. Okay,
Elaine's gotta make it out of this.
Ashley, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna leave it in your hands. Roll. Let's roll D10, high or low.
I'm rolling.
No, I'm gonna roll it. I don't
Hi.
trust any of you. I'm kidding. I trust Aaron. I think Aaron's the only one I trust.
Ever since we left those digital dice, our rolls have gone.
Telling you,
way
I know
up.
it's right. Like we could
Like
track
the-
the math here.
like-
I
the
would have rolled
joke-
this on Foundry, to be
The
fair.
joke in chat.
Okay.
I rolled 60 12s. I got 8 Gandalfs.
Roll it. Pick high or low.
I said hi.
Okay. Roll a D10.
I'm not looking.
Oh.
It's
4.
4.
So this last one will continue. So Katya is stabbing away at the 2 that are up here, and she's doing her best, but she's like slashing. She's just trying to harass. The gunshots have certainly driven 2 of them away. One of them is already kind of on the way. The other one, you can tell Maria is now limping as well. One of them turns their attention to Katya. The other one just kind of stays on Elaine. Elaine, do you have any dice to roll?
For what?
Same thing as you've been rolling.
Oh,
For
I
an
have
attack.
just 1 dice I can roll.
Go ahead and roll it. You're still going to take damage, unfortunately.
Yep. 4 failure.
Okay. You're going to take... what's it called? 4 points of damage. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
so
always forget they have a +1.
all of my aggravated bars are filled up.
Okay. So let's dig into those rules really fast. Does anyone know what happens?
It's a lovely funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty
So
much.
a character is removed from a conflict when their track fills with aggravated damage. If the physical combat health tracker is filled, this could mean death or coma. If social conflict, this is just impairment. So we'll treat it as Elaine, you're out.
Okay.
You're bleeding out, we'll say. Like you've been bit enough to the point where like you're not instant death, but you're gonna die like literally in seconds or minutes. We'll say seconds is overdoing it. That's unfair. Maria comes back. Actually, I'm gonna attack Katya once. It's not gonna kill her, but it will. You see the other one will kind of reach up. She's like, since she was busy stabbing the last one that was on Elaine, the one that she initially stabbed is going to be able to just kind of hit her at that point. We'll bite down on Katya's wrist. You hear Katya scream. She's bleeding, but you know that it's not necessarily going to kill her. Maria, what do you want to do?
Maria is, oh gosh darn it. She's just gonna react. I mean, this is like the second person that's likely died in a grand total of like 5 minutes, so she's not doing particularly well. So she's gonna fire at the coyote that is on Katya and then try to book it.
Okay, go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Still three difficulty. For all your random number generating needs, he says. whenever the dice go wrong. I always remember that. It's a great phrase.
I've got 4 successes.
Okay, 4 successes. So 3 difficulties. So that's 1 success plus your damage on the gun, and you're shooting at the one on Katya or the last one. The last one on Elaine, the one that's still on Elaine.
Do I know that? I'm assuming I know that Elaine looks like that was the last blow to her.
You don't know necessarily, like until everything settles and you can assess her. So
if I don't know that, then I would shoot the one that's on the lane.
So yeah, you shoot her. You shoot this one, and this one's already been stabbed once. You just do another 4 points of damage, and you see like a large explosion out the side as this thing just falls over right on top of Elaine. Okay, I think at this point, with 2 of them running or limping away, one of them dead on top of Elaine, the last one in sort of this stalemate with Katya. Katya will get like one last slash off as it'll run off. Maria, you run up, you see Elaine. She's got bite marks all over her face, all over her arms. The worst one is in her neck, and you see blood just pouring out. I'll say she's not immediately dead, but you looking at her, you can tell that she's not long for this world. Worse than that, her eyes are just kind of drifting and like looking off behind you, as if she doesn't even know you're there.
And Maria's just like, Elaine, I'm sorry. And she's just gonna just throw Elaine over her shoulder and try to go back on, like, kind of go around the mountain and try to like wind back to the vehicle.
You want to get down to the vehicle. Okay.
Yeah.
You start running down the mountain. You try to avoid. You can hear now the sounds of shouting that are occurring as there is now a dead resident in the courtyard. 2 people seen fleeing the scene of where this dead resident was. You've been up here for a few minutes. As you're running down, going to get into your car, not only do you hear the sounds of sirens, but in that long, winding road coming up, you do see blues and red lights beginning to start to populate down there as well, as someone called the cops. And they have responded relatively quickly, or at least you think they might be the cops. You hope it's the cops. You hope it's not someone else.
Yeah.
Let's kick it over now to Sunset Trails.
Butch and Sandance.
We're Quixote and Rena / Butch and Sandance. It's perfect. Okay, so the door busts open. There's one dead ghoul on the ground already. One of them just got shot center mass and doesn't seem slowed. Door busts open. You got another ghoul, and you got two like these elderly folks that have got that crazed look in their eye, but also that weird kind of ageless feel to them. You 2 go first. Those are your these are your targets. Quixote, remember you're in like kind of a grapple melee with the one guy who Rena shot. What do you want to do?
So Quixote you would see, he'll just get this kind of blank look on his face, and the Enochian script swirling on his palms and on his arms would start to almost shimmer, and he is going to repel the unnatural.
Okay.
And I did spend perk points with my XP last time to give it the additional feature of ward, so it puts a 2-meter bubble around Quixote against any of the unnatural.
Okay. Let me give you a DC. So I have to pull up something else. So this is mental, right? This would probably be a mental thing. Okay, so then we'll treat this. This actually isn't gonna be that bad. Difficulty of 3.
Okay, so it's Cult and Resolve, so that's 7 dice, and it is directly against the supernatural, so I'm going to use 3 despair dice for a total of 10 dice. See what we can do with that. Okay. A crit, so that's 4, 6, 5, 7, 6, 7 successes.
Okay, 7 successes. All right, so.
And no one's on the despair dice.
So, and how many meters did you say it was?
2 meters.
2 meters. Okay, so I would say the door is probably not yet within 2 meter distance of you, so it doesn't necessarily do anything right away on the 3 at the door. But as you brandish your tattoos, as you focus your mind, and you release whatever of that strange energy that has been flowing through you since a child. Almost like it physically repels the guy, and he just gets thrown back and it slams against one of these wood-paneled walls. You see the portrait that was hanging overhead just collapse on top of him and stumble down, and he kind of looks up, dazed. Doesn't seem to be harmed, but he's now away, and he's kind of looking confused at you.
Quixote says, "By Saint Leopold and our Lord, none shall pass." And then he winks at Rena.
Rena, what do you want to do?
Completely ignoring Rust. I would have 2 priorities.
Okay.
My first priority would be, as much as I don't like Rust, I don't want to get bogged down here with him if things go bad. And it seems like they're going bad. So I would like to be moving to a point where I have easy access to an escape, but still, I still want to be in the fight. And I want to go for the new ghoul that burst in. I don't want to shoot at the one that's like in hand-to-hand combat and possibly get near him.
So the way we were supposed to do it is like everyone kind of declares what they're doing, but you're allowed to sort of make adjustments depending upon what resolves. And in the case of this, because they were kind of in close proximity, I would resolve Quixote and the guy first. But Rena, if you wanted to shoot at the one that just got thrown against the wall, that's fine. Because the one that was grappling with Quixote, when he does his Enochian symbols, throws him back and smashes him against the wall. So there's now distance. Quixote is actually in the clear.
He's still gonna go after Quixote though. I want to go after the one that might go after me.
Okay, smart. Sure.
And it's composure still, right?
It is composure still, yeah. And let me make sure the difficulty hasn't changed. It does actually change. Yay! Look at that.
Oh God, that was such a bad roll.
It's going to be a difficulty of 4. Actually, I got a crit on this one.
Okay, I'm spending a willpower for sure on that one.
And we do have a banked audience dice.
Can I use that after I already rolled?
You can now. Go ahead and do it now. That's fine. I'm not concerned.
All right,
I have reinforcements galore.
That becomes, with the banked audience dice, I did use it. That becomes 6 successes with the reroll.
Okay, 6 successes will beat its 4 difficulty. We established it was 3 damage plus the differential of 2, so it's 5 points of damage. Fires out. You catch it like right in the neck, like right above the chest. It's even a better shot. Like any normal person would be just killed dead from this. You would imagine they have some some kind of resilience, maybe gifted by their vampiric masters, as their head kind of gets thrown back, and they lean back towards you. You see the blood just begin to, not unlike Elaine, just start to pour down that polo shirt. Its eyes kind of get a little bit shinier, and you can see it's... Thank you, Master. And it charges at you. Okay. So the guy who got thrown against so the two ghouls have effectively gone, because it was like kind of contested with what you did. But Rena, this thing is charging you, but you notice as it starts to charge at you, it gets within that radius of 6 meters of Quixote, and you can see it, or 6 feet. I was going to say, yeah, 2 meters, and so you see it just kind of as it's running, just almost stumbles a bit as this invisible like field causes it to just get pushed off to the side. It slams against the wall a bit, steadies itself, and kind of then continues to close the distance. But that little momentary stumble means it's not going to get to hit you this turn. The two old folks with the weird faces charge in, Quixote, and they are not actually stopped by your...
Well, I figured they wouldn't be, because we tried to repel the old people before. It didn't do anything, so...
Yep. These are not supernatural yet. Okay, so they're going to charge in. There's two of them. I would imagine they're going to both be swinging at you. I'm going to say one of them looks like it has... Again, one of them has like looks like a butcher knife that they have. The other one has a 9-iron. The one with the butcher knife, we'll say it's knife damage, so it's gonna be aggravated. But the other one will be normal. Do you have anything in your hands?
Just the gun. I was just gonna try to dodge.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just do dodge. I'll give you difficulties here. So we'll say knife guy first, or knife lady first. Knife lady, it's just gonna be 3, and then the other one. Okay, the other one 4. So the one with the 9-iron, the 4.
Okay. Does despair dice count with them? Are they part of the supernatural enemy for me?
They're part of the... I would say they can't. They're definitely part of the enemy.
Then I'll use the despair dice then.
Absolutely. Okay. And because this is like 2 of them, I think there's the diminishing returns. So so start with the knife one, because that's aggravated. So that would be the worst. So that'll have your full pool.
Okay. For the knife one, I got 5 successes.
Okay. So you're able to dodge out of the way of the knife. And then the second one, do your pool -1.
Okay. Oh, crap on the stick. I'm going to spend a point of willpower. So that's 2 successes at the moment. 4 successes.
Okay. And this one did have 4 successes. So I never really remember where the differential goes. I know that I think the weapon damage is I think that since the difficulty is 4 and you rolled 4, I think you're okay, because I'm setting the difficulty for you to dodge, and that you hit 4, so I think you're okay. So these 2 things come charging, and this woman screams like her weird kind of like overly, like it almost looks like she's had awkward plastic surgery in some way, but you don't see any scars necessarily. There's just this unnatural smoothing of things, but she's got this rage in her face, not unlike the rage that you saw when you saved your friend Brock in the alleyway. Like this kind of lit up anger, and she comes stabbing at you. You dodge out of the way of the one. The man comes up, tries to swing horizontally at you at Rust with the 9-iron. You duck underneath it, and you manage to avoid both attacks. So now the guy who got knocked away, he's on the other side of the room. He is kind of confused by what's happening, as he doesn't understand why he was just repelled in this manner. He will shout out something. He will just say, as loud as he can, and it echoes in the halls, "Master, we are under attack. We need you."
This is going to go well for us.
That means it's time to run. It is time to run.
Okay, so that happened. The two old folks with the weapons are on Rust. Rena, you've got one that's about to be... It's going to be on you. One of the ghouls is going to be on you now that they've recovered. what do you two want to do? Declare your actions.
The one that's going to be on me, I'm just unloading my clip
Okay. Yep.
and then
Okay.
continually backing up.
All right. And then, and you kind of moved, but you haven't fully moved into the room yet. You've kind of we'll say you've kind of moved maybe in such a way that you were like taking advantage initially of Rust's thing. So you're probably not that far away from the locker room door. Still
Exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. Quixote, however, is more in the middle of the hall because he kind of charged in and did some stuff. And Quixote, what would you be doing?
Quixote would shoot the woman with the knife
Okay.
at point blank range.
Okay. So
Because he's basically surrounded by these two old people, and if he moves, the bubble will collapse, and he would have to try to reestablish it at the moment. So
okay. We'll start with Rust since you're in melee there, and you're gonna shoot in point blank. Can't remember if there's any kind of penalty to point blank rolls or not.
I was
Do you
looking
remember?
at that. I didn't see anything.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just tell you what her difficulty is going to be.
Okay.
And just remember then again you're still going to have I think why don't we do it this way? We'll make it your gunshot versus her stab contested.
Okay.
And the winner does damage basically. And then when you try to defend against the 9-iron guy, you'll have -1 in your defense against him.
Well,
Okay. All right. So it's just I only have 3.
oh, this is better. 9, 9, 9, 6, 7, and 6. So that's 6 successes.
Okay. What's the damage on the gun? +1?
+1.
Okay. You shoot her, and point blank, she goes stumbling backwards, flops down on the on this plastic. She's got a big old wound in her chest that is now pouring blood. She's not insta-dead, but Rust, you would imagine it's very unlikely that this woman is probably going to survive this. If this was a higher caliber weapon, it might have been insta-death, but she's laying on the ground. She kind of looks up. She tried to take a swipe at you. She's not out of the fight, but she's in very bad shape.
If you serve the creatures of the night, the grave is the only mercy you'll be shown.
Master won't show you any mercy. And you
And I
hear
won't show him any mercy either.
You hear a door open upstairs.
We're so dead.
Okay. All right. I keep this guy with a 9-iron. I keep rolling these crits. This is great. 4 on the difficulty for Jack Nicholas, who's attacking you.
And 1 less die for me.
And 1 less die, yeah.
1, 2, 3. I'll spend another willpower. Oy vey. 5 successes.
Okay, so you do manage to dodge out of the way of this one. He swings again. You shoot his wife. She falls onto the ground. Dodge out of the way. The 9-iron smashes. You hear it kind of clack against the marble. You hear the doors opening upstairs. Quixote, you look up and you see this beautiful set of these ornate double doors. There is this carving around the actual wood panels themselves. It opens up and it's just darkness at first. You start to see a vague silhouette beginning to emerge from that darkness. Rena, one of them's right up on top of you now. We're going to do the same thing like we did with Rust. You fire versus its attack. The one that fell and shouted is going to try to come at Rust again, I think, not necessarily realizing the reason why it's not working. So this is I'll give you the difficulty. These guys are awesome. 4 difficulty. That's 3 of the last 4 rolls. I've rolled a 10. That's great. Good job, North.
Only 2 successes again, so I'm going to spend a willpower to reroll.
Gotcha.
4 successes, just barely.
Okay. So 4 successes versus its 4 successes. This is So I think because we're doing contested, there's not like nothing major is going to happen here. You probably get like a graze on its arm, nothing that's going to put it down. You see a little kind of bit of its shirt on its polo kind of rip open, and some blood begin to trickle down, but it doesn't necessarily take it out. It probably pushes its arm back a bit so that when it kind of swings at you with its other arm, it does so kind of off balance, and you're able to still keep yourself a step or two away from it, but it is not down.
I spit my gum out at it.
Okay. Roll dexterity. No, okay. Okay. So this is sort of recap then. So now we have this other guy comes up, charges at Rust, and you still have your beacon up, and he'll once more get repelled backwards like an idiot. And I think he's putting it together. We've got the guy with the 9-iron swinging at Russ. The woman got shot. She has the knife. She's not dead. She looks like she's kind of getting up to come back. You would imagine Russ, she's probably not long for this world. Rena, you've got one on you. And as you all are taking a look at the battle, that silhouette from the darkness above becomes suddenly lit. You see this long, dark black coat. You see what looks like kind of this black red shirt, kind of has some sort of strange design and like stitched red all down it. No tie. You see a kind of a pale face. You get what looks like slicked back hair and kind of combed pretty neatly and kind of dripping down a little bit to the sides here and there. And the woman that you now see at the top, long slacks, these big old heels, she says, and her voice just kind of pierces through all of the chaos that's happening here. Who dares to interfere in my communion? And then she just her mouth opens and she lets out this like loud, ear-piercing wail, and both of you just gotta put your hands up to your ears. Go ahead and both of you roll a. Hang on. It's gonna be. I think it's stamina plus. One sec. It's gonna be stamina plus. Stamina plus dex, the quickness due to kind of cover your ears and this wail.
Is this a supernatural mental effect?
It is, in fact.
I am immune to those.
Okay, so like you can kind of feel the sounds begin to shake a little bit, but otherwise it doesn't seem to like you think your ears are almost kind of dull it automatically. Rena, go ahead.
I'm not immune, but I did get 4 successes.
Okay, that'll do.
Nice.
As you're able to withstand this kind of screech. You're not sure if it was meant for you, however.
My earbuds were in.
As you suddenly hear the sounds of kind of calls coming out from outside. So it might have just been a byproduct of it. So now we have what is very clearly some sort of vampiric master at the top of the stairs looking down at you all as you've interrupted her business. Rena, you have a ghoul on you, and another one that's kind of staring you down. And Rust, you have a man with a 9-iron and a woman who got shot in the chest and is coming at you with a knife. And you hear the sounds of reinforcements coming. What would you like to do?
Rust, it's time to go.
Yeah. Russ looks over and he's like, "There's nothing wrong with a tactical withdrawal," and he runs.
Okay.
for the doors out through the locker room, out to the pool deck.
Okay. Do you go running? All right. I'll tell you what. Rena and Rust, go ahead and both of you roll. Let's do just like a dexterity athletics as you try to, because you're both kind of within like grabbing range of somebody else, and you're also trying to run quickly through a semi-darkened locker room to get away. See if you get out of the clubhouse.
Spending another
unmolested.
willpower to reroll.
Oh, I'm good. I got 3 10s.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Only
so
2 successes.
5 successes.
That's 5 successes. 2 successes. Okay. Rena, you do get away, but not before you feel something rake across your back. As you will actually take damage as you get out, but that ghoul, you feel them just sort of rake down your back. You feel it cut into your skin. Go ahead and take 2 points of superficial damage, as you're not sure if it was their hand or a knife or something in their hand, but you burst out. Rust, you get away without any issue. And the two of you now burst out through the glass doors into the swimming pool area, and you hear the sounds of these calls that are kind of echoing from different parts of the neighborhood. At that point, since you guys are out of the clubhouse, we'll switch back over where Maria, you have made it down the mountain, you and Katya. You've got Elaine over your shoulder. You got to lay her down in the back of your car. You see what looks like sirens, and you hear what looks like sirens that are beginning to go up that long, winding entry point. Remember, Elaine is coughing and distant. She's starting to mumble like random things. What are some random thoughts that would be coming to Elaine's mind?
She'd actually probably start calling out for her mom and her grandma and like all of her loved ones, and you'll just hear as she starts calling out for them.
Okay.
And Maria's just grabbing like clean rags or something from the back of the van and just trying to, kind of put pressure on the wound. And like, I'm imagining there's just blood that's just sort of gushing, like no matter how much pressure she puts on.
So I would say you're smart enough. I think you have a little bit of training in medicine, right? Don't you have some points?
No, you don't. No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I would say you're not sure. You're
I'm
not
a plumber.
Sure. It looks absolutely terrible. It's a hell of a leak.
Yeah, exactly.
However, the more like that's a terrible situation. You don't think Elaine is long for this world, and she's calling out these horrible things. But you also have now coming up the entranceway are these law enforcement vehicles or possibly security vehicles.
Am I parked in a way that I can...
You were seen fleeing the site of a dead body on this place. What do you want to do?
Is my vehicle parked in such a way that I can kind of off-road this?
You were parked in if you recall, when you came up on the right-hand side of the entranceway, there was all of the visitors parking. On the left-hand side, there's all the employee parking. You were on the visitor side. You can see a lot of lights are starting to pop on throughout the buildings of the advanced care clinic. If you want to go off-roading, you absolutely can. We'll make a roll and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think as long as it's not like fenced in, as long as I can physically leave the parking lot in a different direction, I would like to give that a try.
Okay. Are you trying to go down the incline towards the road, meaning like passing where these vehicles are coming up, just not on the road itself?
No, I'm trying to, if it's like deserty enough that I can kind of go down, like if they're coming up more on this side and I'm going down that side.
Okay. It's gonna be a drive
this is
test.
Gonna be dangerous. Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be a drive test. We'll say I would say either Dex or Composure would be the two. I'll let you pick between those. And
I will always pick Composure.
Oh, that's right. And I will say this is going to be hard. So 5 successes.
All right. So I've got 4 in Composure and 2 in Drive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right.
Oh, look, I got 7 10s.
Gotcha to hold on.
Don't forget those 2 Gandalfs.
I got all these bonus successes too. It's really strange.
You said I need 5 successes?
These explode, right? Just like Deadlands?
All right, so I currently have 4 successes, so I'm going to spend a willpower.
Okay.
Just putting me dangerously close to getting impaired again.
Okay.
So that I can roll the other 2 and hopefully get that last success that I need. And I did. So I rolled my second 10, which means it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes.
All right, so the sirens are coming. You can see the lights. You can hear the sounds. You peel out. Going out the main exit is not going to work. So you just head east You just drive out the eastern side of the visitors parking lot. It's on an incline, and you're driving it's a van, right? So you're driving on this kind of like this crooked, this tilt. You can feel every so often as you're kind of holding on. It's not an off-roading vehicle necessarily. It's probably somewhat more capable than an average van, but it's not a full all-terrain vehicle. So you're bumping and bumping, and every now and then you feel it tip ever so slightly, like you might roll over, but you manage to maintain like the control of it. You can feel like the wheels just kind of turn and stick. You slam into a rock. You can feel the scrapes along the side of the van. You run over what looks like this small chunks of cacti, and you're just driving alongside of the road. I'm gonna say and the difficulty was to see if you can do it, not necessarily to see if you can do it stealthily. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if any of these vehicles anyone had an opportunity. This is gonna be a hidden roll. I'm not gonna necessarily tell you right away. Any of the vehicles or anyone else like that was turning on their lights and looking out the window, they were able to see it. And I will say that the immediate thing that you notice, it doesn't appear that any of these lights or sirens are following your path. You stay along the incline. The van begins to tumble. You realize that at a certain point you just have to make it back down to the road, and you turn and you do. And it's late at night, which is actually working in your favor. So there's not a whole lot of traffic. There is some traffic, but not a lot. And you're able to burst back onto the road. You feel your shocks just get wrecked as you come back onto the concrete surface. And you're driving now away. You look in your rearview mirror. You look in your side mirrors. Katya's looking as well. Maybe Katya's sitting in the back seat, kind of holding the bandages to Elaine's neck. And it doesn't look like the sirens are following you right now.
And Maria's going to continue driving evasively, making turns and whatnot. Okay. And Maria is very glad for having picked up Untraceable in one of our last XP spends. So when she's like out and about, that helps.
Oh yeah, that's great. Actually, yeah. At a certain point, though, Katya just says, "You need to pull over." She's going.
I gotta. I guess we're far enough away. I don't like this part. I don't like this part. There's the Annabelle off the balcony, and I never liked this part of the job. And so she'll
just say your goodbyes.
And so she'll
If I could say my goodbyes to Rena's mother, I would. But I didn't have a chance to. So say it or you're gonna regret it.
Fine. Well, throw the lights off, park the car behind a strip mall or something, and crawl into the back of the van, and just I'm guessing there's just blood just like all
everywhere.
Over. It'd be like, oh,
everywhere.
Lane, you sure did make a mess. You sure. Oh, I'm gonna look after Mr. Ponder for you. I know you want to make sure he's okay, and I'm sorry. We were supposed to keep doing this together. But you did.
Larissa? Is that you? And she'll reach out a hand and briefly touch your cheek and leaves blood there. And then she just goes limp.
We fade to black at that point. We come back up. We're back in Sunset Trails. Quixote, Rena, you're in the swimming pool section of this clubhouse. You're not out of the woods. You're being chased. There's been a call to alert everyone else around here. And so now people are actively looking for you. How do you want to get out of here?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Maybe your plan is better. I'm sure it is.
No, my plan wasn't better. I was going to say I'm going to run in a straight line to get as far as possible, jumping any fence that comes in the way.
Just a straight line as fast as you can. Okay.
Flat out running.
That's your idea. All right, Rust, what were you going to throw out there?
Rust is just going to try to stay a few steps ahead of Rena doing the same thing, heading
Okay.
for
Rena's
the
gonna
wall.
try and stay a couple steps ahead of him.
Okay, so
So
we're
it's
not.
a
We're
foot
not.
race.
It's not a stealth thing. It's just as fast as you can, right?
Not when we're
If I see
not,
Alvin, I'm gonna knock him over.
not when it's 250
Alvin's
to
gone.
125 to
Oh,
2
yeah.
or something. Yeah, we're
Okay, so you're
Straight
just
up.
running as fast as you can. All right, so make this. This is going to be stamina athletics, I would say, to try to run as fast as you can for as far as you can.
okay. Yeah.
I did not put enough points into those.
It's okay for me. It's not a bad one.
And you two are competing with each other. The
Mhm.
loser's getting attacked.
Okay, hold on. I guess I'm gonna willpower then.
Gotta be faster than the slower
It's
Well,
true.
one.
power
That's what
too.
it's going to be. It's what it's going to be.
Okay,
It's
okay,
like,
okay.
have you
that's-
ever heard that phrase about to get away from a bear, you just got to run faster
Yep.
than your friends?
Darn right. That's why I say to Melissa all the time, if a zombie apocalypse ever happened, I know I'm okay because I can outrun her.
Yes. This is true.
5 successes.
Steven? Less, I
He's like,
think.
a Gandalf?
Less, I think.
I rolled one success at first, then used a willpower to reroll,
Okay.
and I'm still at 1.
Oh no.
Oh, that's rough.
Okay.
It's you know, you millennials gotta work on your stamina.
I know. Yeah. Less attitude, more cardio. Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna write. I actually really like that. I'm gonna write that. Less attitude, more cardio.
That's gonna
That might be the
quote for
thumbnail
week.
thing right there. That might be the quote for the week. Okay. So the two of you are running as fast as you can. You're weaving between these trailers. It's dark. You're trying to retrace your steps as best you can, going back in the direction. In the distance, you see suddenly lights start popping up, and suddenly it's not as dark as it used to be, and everything is now visible. You hear the sounds of people shout out, there, and you take a second to look over your shoulder, and you see they're pointing at you, and this group of like 3 or 4 older folks are just kind of running. You hear the sounds of like a golf cart kind of starting to drive in sort of your direction as well. You look in the distance, and you can see like on the wall like a little flare goes up, and you realize it's probably Alvin kind of signaling which way to go. And as you're running, Quixote, you kind of get out in front. You're both just running as fast as you can. You come and you bypass the porch of this trailer. You go to like move right past the ledge, right where the crossway would be. Quixote, you don't see it because you managed to outpace it, but Rena, just leaping out and trying to essentially close on you and tackle you, is one of these ghoul creatures. So we're going to make a contested brawl. So go
Not
ahead.
melee?
It's going to be brawl because they're just trying to tackle you. So make it strength plus brawl. I would say I would
Are
also
you
if
sure
you
it's not dexterity melee?
you know what? I'll give you dexterity.
All right.
I would give you dexterity or athletics or brawl. I don't think melee would make sense, as they're kind of catching you as you're running at full speed unawares. But I would give you brawl or
So I
athletics
could
plus
run
dexterity.
dex athletics.
I'll give you dex athletics. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
That took me from a 1 to a 4.
Okay. Difficulty will be. Difficulty is only going to be 3.
0 successes.
Oh crap.
So
Do you have
my
any
gosh.
willpower to spend?
I've been spending a lot, and I'm already.
Yeah, you don't want
I'm
to
gonna
overspend
wait.
and
That's
then
true.
get impaired.
Ooh.
So you just get like linebacker blindside tackled and smashed to the ground. You go rolling around Quixote. You probably hear it happen, or Rena might even yelp out. And as this guy takes you down to the ground, your head smashes up against the base of one of these trailers. Go ahead and take you had 0 successes?
0.
Take 3 points of damage. It'll be superficial. It's not aggravated. It's just a tackle. Okay. So the situation is, Rena, you've been tackled to the ground. Your head's bleeding, smashed against the side of this trailer. There are others that are coming. You can hear their footsteps. They almost sound like they're howling in some way, and like that psychotic glee. Rust, You look over your shoulder. You see she just got tackled to the ground. You see like the light that Alvin's using to mark the way out. Rust, what do you want to do?
Rust turns and goes by the light, and he pushes against the ghoul to try to repel it.
Okay, go ahead and roll. It's a mental, so that'll be a difficulty of 3.
All right, so it's 7 dice and 3 despair. Oh yeah, I got this. 8, 7, 6, 7, 6. 5 successes.
Okay.
Nope.
So,
But I did get 1 on the despair dice, but I did succeed.
okay. So 1 on the despair die. So that means we can increase the danger basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
so
go with the overreach, yeah.
So the danger will kick up.
Which makes sense.
I think it does make sense. But as you do it, he flies back, and he just the distance between these 2 trailers, the crossway, he just gets thrown completely across it and smashes up and through a window of the trailer behind. Rena, you're free. You get up. What do you want to do?
Run.
Others closing. Okay.
I don't care what Rust is doing. I'm running.
Oh, Rust is running with you, but he can play behind you now.
Okay. You're running, you see the light. You can see that you're kind of getting closed in. You're passing by what looks like these bodies in the ground that are alive. You can see that some of these homeless folk have been beaten and slashed, and they're just laying in the ground. Like, you can see drag marks that they were in the process of being dragged back to the clubhouse, but they like stopped because of their responding to this call. A couple of them reach up to you like, help, help.
I'm sorry, brothers. We'll avenge you.
And you go.
Not even looking at him.
Okay. You get to the wall, and you can feel them closing in. You see like Alvin at the very top. He's kind of holding a hand down. Like, come. Remember these are abnormally tall walls. Mm-hmm. So go ahead at this point and give me I want to climb. And again, we're gonna do the situation here, depending on who does better. Not only that, but Alvin, you hear a sudden say, "What the fuck is that?" And you look over your shoulder and you see just like it's no problem. Just like they're hopping from Riverstone to Riverstone. You see that woman, one trailer, leaps to the next, leaps to the next, and is just chasing after and is moving and just making so much better pace than all of like the ghouls and the crazy folks on the ground.
What would climbing be?
Athletics?
Athletics, and again, you can take dex or strength for this. I don't care.
Okay.
Three successes.
Also 3 successes.
Okay, it's a rando. Okay, odds or evens, Aaron?
Odds.
Oh, it's a bad choice.
That's okay.
It's a
Russ
3.
would rather take it.
Yeah. So, as you're climbing up, you feel something grab your leg and try to tug you back down. Like, Alvin's up there. You can see he's pulling up Rena, and his hand come down to you. He grabs your hand. He's starting to pull up. And all of a sudden, you just feel this heavy pressure. And there's one of these ghouls below. It's going to try to tug you back down to the ground. Contested. We'll make this a strength versus, strength brawl or strength. You can do athletics too, but strength brawl.
If it's a ghoul, can I repel it as my resistance?
Yeah, let me go ahead. I think what I'm going to do, it's going to be contested though against its attack this time as opposed to its mental stat.
Yep.
So it'll be a 4 that you're going for this time.
8, 2 10s, a 9.
So close.
So 4, 5, 6, 7 successes.
One arm kind of holding on to Alvin's hand, and he's trying to pull you up.
And
the other,
I put the palm of my hand down into this thing's forehead and then push.
its head kind of sizzles ever so slightly as you touch it, and then you just push, and it just smushes down into the ground and kind of goes tumbling back over itself like it's caught up in a horrible gust. Alvin pulls you up the rest of the way, and you can see that he pulled the car up right to the outside here. Like he's gone off-roading as well, and the car is just a handful of feet away. Rena's over there. She doesn't have her bike, but we'll say at this point you can run into it, get in the car, bump, 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 bump. You drive off. You don't notice any of them leaving the confines. Like you don't see any of the ghouls climbing over top or the old folks climbing over top. But as you're looking out the rear view mirror, or as you're looking out the back of the car, you can see that the vampiric figure, the woman just standing atop the wall, the gust, like the dusty wind of a dust storm that's beginning to kick up, just kind of throwing her long coat kind of in the wind. And like you can tell that they're just gazing and looking as you drive
Rust
away.
is looking right back at her.
Okay.
He knows the enemy when he sees it.
Okay.
Rena didn't even see her. She wasn't looking back.
All right. And I think we'll go ahead. I think that's a good place to end. You got away. We've had Elaine's final moments, final words.
Elaine.
I won't make Ashley stay here knowing that she's going to die. But we'll pick up in the aftermath of that and see what actually happens.
Oof.
So how bad was everybody, and like how close is everybody to going down? I know Elaine went down, but like I said, she was in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I took 5 superficial damage
Of
Okay.
6 total health, right?
of 6. Yeah.
Okay.
I took no health damage whatsoever and spent 5 willpower.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
tough
Russ,
to
you
do
got
damage
me
to.
into this.
No, you got us into this. This was your job.
True.
This is
Okay.
I'm definitely taking the gun from you next session.
Next time,
He's
give me a
lost his
knife.
privileges.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, let's see. Aaron, what's going on with Garblag?
Let's see. With Garblag on Monday, Ben will be back with some City of Mists. This is all happening at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Tuesday, I believe there will be some Coriolis. Wednesday, we will actually have the season finale of Season 3 of Once Upon a Time in the Old World, our Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition. Thursday, Lewis will be back with the second episode of The One Ring for his fellowship. And then Friday, we'll be back with some Blades in the Dark, seeing the consequences of the Red Ledger's assassin crew after they took an interesting turn today.
We did awful things. Yeah. Nothing good is going to come. Nothing good for us is going to happen. It's going to be entertaining, but nothing good for us is going to happen. Let's see. For us tomorrow, our Wondering game is on a couple week break, as long as we be in and out of town for the next few weeks. So instead, we are going to be playing Orbital Blues, which is a space western game, sad space cowboys from the folks at Soul Muppet Publishing. You can catch everyone actually here is going to be in that game, plus one other new face to the channel, our friend Mark, who for a while I've been trying to get him here because he let Melissa and I run play some Slay Industries, and so I've been wanting for a while to return the favor. So Mark's gonna be joining us for a couple weeks as we play in the same slot we would for Wondering. We're gonna do some Orbital Blues, and tomorrow we're gonna start. Then on on Monday we'll be back here playing Holler for Savage Worlds. Holler. Steven, what do you got going on Tuesday here?
Tuesday on Adventures in Lollygagging at 9 p.m. Central, we will be playing some Haunted West. It's a weird West. I play it a little more horror game, rootin' tootin' horror, as I like to call it. It's been a lot of fun. We are just wrapping up our first arc here. Our players went through some crap. They're coming back to the safety of town, and we'll see what happens till next.
I don't like how you said safety there. The safety
Oh,
of
it's
town.
perfectly safe.
Oh, I think we know. It's
Right, I mean the name of the town is Perseverance. So if they're not doing okay, you just really poorly named that town. That's misleading. That's just misleading.
They're definitely trying to persevere.
Yeah. Okay.
God,
And then
Bartlett.
oh yeah, that Bartlett family. That's a shame. Then next Friday, it's going to be a Mothership week, so come back for some Mothership, and we'll be back with Hunter in 2 weeks, where we meet Ashley's new character, and we see the fallout of this crazy split party situation where two horrible things have happened.
Yep.
I don't know if anything has been resolved yet, though, but boy, is there's some targets for our next couple of sessions. So we'll see how that works out. For now, though, we're going to go ahead and raid our friends at Defenders. They are playing some DCC, so follow the raid, say hi, ask Chuck about his big old dirty, hairy, ugly feet, and thanks to everyone who hung out for the night, and come back tomorrow for some Marvel Blues. So bye-bye.